Hello again, this is Dr. Bagpipe, Matthew Welch here, just presenting the third of the inaugural drbagpipe.com videos, just sort of showing you things that I do, little bits of unboxing and unveiling, and hopefully some information to entice you to kind of take further. What I wanted to feature in this video, this third video, you should check out number 1 for practice chatter stuff, number 2 for this wonderful Piping Times annual. This one here is going to be just briefly dedicated to my new volume called A New Complete Theory for the Highland Bagpipe by Dr. Matthew Welch, or Dr. Bagpipe. It's just, I don't know why I'm calling myself that, but I'm just having fun. Dr. Bagpipe, come check out the website. You'll see all sorts of other ways of enjoying your wonderfully unique instrument. But here, I'm just gonna zoom in a little closer. This volume here that I published in 2020 features 6 chapters. Let's see. A beautiful foreword by the head of piping at the College of Piping and Celtic Performing Arts in Canada, James McCaddy, an old colleague of mine. And after a general introduction, we go through 6 chapters sort of outlining the basics of the bagpipe through the first 3, outlining repertoire, the basic rudiments of it. Beg in chapter 2. We visit Kilmore in chapter 3. It's basic embellishments of Kilmore and sort of variation styles. I also like to use examples of historical notation and typographical styles so you can see how piping looked on paper. More or less, this kind of proceeds through the first half of the book, kind of outlaying the tradition and kind of taking the namesake New Complete Theory. Well, let's talk about Joseph McDonald for a second. Joseph McDonald was really the first piper that set down the music into staff notation. He was an educated composer and multi-instrumentalist, so the types of work that Joseph McDonald did with notation still are impacting how we read the bagpipe music today. So anyway, what he did in his time, in 1760, was a wonderful documentation of all of the styles of piping that were prevalent at the time. This is pre-Culloden, or just after Culloden, 1760. Many aspects of piping that we hadn't seen. So I was inspired by that volume, by its breadth and also its reaching into the past and presenting styles that we don't play today. What I wanted to do was move forward with mine. A New Complete Theory was to sort of cover the same ground that Joseph McDonald did, except from today's perspective. What music has been handed down to us? How is the instrument developed and maintained its shape? And to go through the rest of the book, I have 3 remaining chapters discussing how the development of Beg and Kilmore progressed in a contemporary styles throughout the 20th century. Composers like Donald MacLeod in both light music and pibroch, what they were able to do, innovations they were able to bring, A.G. Kenneth as well as editor of the Pibroch Society, also the types of influences of more contemporary music within pipe band styles. These are all really worthwhile things to be documenting within our tradition, but furthermore, I wanted to document all of the avant-garde music techniques that I had been developing for my own personal compositional world, but also the techniques I was able to offer other composers that weren't familiar with the bagpipes, that wrote mostly for orchestral instruments. What would they do with a bagpipe, given a bagpiper that was educated in both idioms today? What kind of pieces would they come up with, and what would we come up with collaboratively? And what was the notation like? So I spend the second half of this treatise, which, by the way, did win my Yale doctoral prize while I was a doctoral student at the Yale School of Music. So what I've done is taken this academic work and dressed it up a little bit for piper consumption here. But you will see a lot of new music that many traditional oriented pipers hadn't encountered, and hopefully it gives them ideas for new projects, or whether or not they have a chance to work with musicians that are outside of the piping idiom, the types of common ground that they can reach in terms of vocabulary. What does the pipes tune? How does the pipe tune with this instrument, whatnot? And how can musical material be shared and whatnot? I'm finding that composers are more and more interested in this instrument, as I have encountered broad minds across the globe that are interested in just new music, new creative sound making. And the bagpipes open up a lot of potential. It's really exciting to actually just see in the new movie Dune, the new iteration Hans Zimmer soundtrack. Some of my dear friends in Scotland had contributed bagpipes to the Arrakis scene. It's wonderful. So this is the type of manual that Hans Zimmer, I hope, would have landed in his hands when he was looking at the bagpipes. But nonetheless, will give other pipers some vocabulary to talk with other musicians. Now, the cool thing about this book that I decided that after all of this general academic talk, some of it will be familiar and some of it will be very out there. I included another part, this part two, where I have my Kilmore Compositions, Bag Compositions, and Kilmore. I start off with about a baker's dozen of pibrochs, and these pibrochs are, they're different than the normal McCrimmon ones. You'll see similarities in structure and style, but I tried to honor what I felt the McCrimmons were giving to the actual music in the first place, was a variety of range of styles, not just one formula, but several formulas, and one in which each tune gets to have its own unique contribution to the general language of Kilmore. So that is what I've done with my work here. After the Kilmore, we dip into light music pieces of mine. You see quite a bit of the Kilmore here. I was really into writing pibroch. So we have 2/4 marches, and also reels in very sort of syncopated contemporary styles, using modal combinations that have not been utilized before, reflecting scales from musics across the world, and also sort of retro references and tunes that stay in one pentatonic mode and whatnot. And my contribution afterwards, after these sort of quasi idiomatic tunes, is to just go even further with material that has sort of been unclassifiable, which I now term Kilmore. There's a nice article about it in the Piping Times here. You should check it out. What is the music that we are going to do tomorrow when we are aware of music around the world, and how it is structured and how it affects our own listening and views of how music is built and perceived and what its purpose is in the environment. I have some compositions that are, for me, very much inspired by experimental composers that I was listening to and also studying with. Philip Glass, who was much more experimental in his youth, when we know through many musical soundtracks. So this sort of experimental language is sort of kind of becoming more commonplace. And the cool thing about these types of the other ways of making music is that they actually have a lot in common with how music for the bagpipe was put together 400 years ago. You only have a select number of notes. How do we organize a musical thought around that? So anyway, I have a bunch of stuff, really fun things in here. Some of it goes out there, maybe even just fun to look at. And for the really adventurous, try it out. They use fixed points, but also require adventurous improvisation and risk-taking, and you might make some mistakes. Ooh. But anyway, here we go. Just want to wrap this up. Thank you for your time. drbagpipe.com. Please check out my new complete theory for the Highland Bagpipe. And happy holidays, and have a happy new year. Play some Auld Lang Syne. Okay, bye.